A dream doesn't become reality through magic, it takes sweat, determination and hard work. Success is the result of perfection, hard work, learning from failure, loyalty and persistence. Surround yourself with people who take their work seriously, but not themselves, those who work hard and play hard. Never neglect details. When everyone's mind is dulled or distracted, the leader must be doubly vigilant. 90% of my time is spent on 10% of the world. Don't bother people for help without first trying to solve the problem yourself. Trump is a national disgrace and an international pariah. A time will come when a politician who has willfully made war and promoted international dissension will be as sure of the dock and much surer of the noose than a private homicide. It is not reasonable that those who gamble with men's lives should not stake their own. If a leader doesn't convey passion and intensity, then there will be no passion and intensity within the organization, and they'll start to fall down and get depressed. Organization charts and fancy titles count for next to nothing. Drones are just another weapon, and they turn out to be a very effective weapon that puts no American troops at risk, and I don't see why we shouldn't use them against identified enemy targets. Giving back involves a certain amount of giving up. Many interviewers, when they come to talk to me, think they're being progressive by not mentioning in their stories any longer that I'm black. I tell them, don't stop now. If I shot somebody, you'd mention it. But just as they did in Philadelphia when they were writing the Constitution, sooner or later, you've got to compromise. You've got to start making the compromises that arrive at a consensus and move the country forward. Engineering didn't take to me, and what saved me and kept me in college was I ran into our OTC cadets who were in a fraternity called the Pershing Rifles. And I found my place. I found discipline. I found structure. I found people that were like me and I liked. I was born in Harlem, raised in the South Bronx, went to public school, got out of public college, went into the army, and then I just stuck with it. Some of the generals are saying, we're making progress. We are clearing an area. But you really don't defeat the Taliban by clearing an area. They move. I don't know that there is much the United States can do except work with the international community. Have fun in your command. Don't always run at a breakneck pace. Take leave when you've earned it, spend time with your families. Wouldn't it be great if we could look forward to a whole world in which no child will be left behind? The United States is not stingy. We are the greatest contributor to international relief efforts in the world. My own experience is use the tools that are out there, use the digital world, but never lose sight of the need to reach out and talk to other people who don't share your view. Listen to them and see if you can find a way to compromise. There's not going to be a World War III because there is no one to have World War III with. Today I can declare my hope and declare it from the bottom of my heart that we will eventually see the time when that number of nuclear weapons is down to zero and the world is a much better place. Experts often possess more data than judgment. Don't be afraid to challenge the pros, even in their own backyard. You're not just voting for an individual, in my judgment, you're voting for an agenda. You're voting for a platform. You're voting for a political philosophy. Russia isn't going to start a war. They can't afford it. I think Mr. Putin can be dealt with if we stop screaming at him. You can work with the guy. You just have to know who he is. The commander in the field is always right, and the rear echelon is wrong unless proved otherwise. There are no secrets to success. It is the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure. Perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. Get mad, then get over it. It ain't as bad as you think. It will look better in the morning. No battle plan survives contact with the enemy. The country would be a lot better off if we stopped having comment sections, and if we got rid of Twitter. Throughout my career, I learned plenty about war on the battlefield, but I learned even more about the importance of finding peace. And that is what the State Department and USAID do. Prevent the wars that we can avoid so that we fight only the ones we must. The economy's got to get moving, we've got to get the unemployment rate down. That may be the defining issue of the campaign. Trump has no sense of shame. In the last several years, I have been troubled by the right shift of the Republican Party too far to the right. There's nothing wrong in suffering if you suffer for a purpose. Our evolution didn't abolish danger or death. It simply made danger and death worthwhile. Politics is not beanbags. It's serious, tough stuff. I don't want to spend the rest of my life giving speeches. I try to be the same person I was yesterday. President Assad, I worked with. I know him reasonably well, met with him a few times, and he's a liar. When Jerry Springer thinks you've gone too far, my friends, you have gone too far. It's a disgrace that we have millions of people who are uninsured. Trump just looks stupid trying to appeal to blacks and Latinos.